My attention span is fried, so I'm gonna try to do this without sounding like a bumbling idiot, but it's completely off script, so bear with me here. About as far back as I can remember, I've been playing video games. I feel like I've said that a million times on this channel, but it's the truth. Um, and for a while, I've been thinking of a way to kind of catalog and really critically look at all these games that I've had, some way that I can play them all, because I did go through a phase of buying games with like allowance money or whatever, and just not playing through it all the way or not playing them at all. Um, so that's what this is about. Um, Back in 2019, I was going through some pretty big life changes, and I had a little bit of a video journal going on, which was actually really helpful. I would recommend it if you guys don't feel like if you don't feel like writing in a paper journal. Video journal will work. Just don't put it online. Um, but I was making video journals during the summer after school was over, and during that time, I still had this idea going on of that I wanted to play and every game that I had, and so I started this little segment in those video journals called the Daily Game. And basically, what it was every time I did a journal entry, I ended it with a little segment talking about a game that I had, and I gave it a score out of 10. And what came out of that was a list of every game that I owned at the time. I wrote it down on lined paper, about 230 games that I owned, whether that was on the Wii, the PS4, Steam. Most most of them were on Steam, but things like that. And that paper list of all these games that I had has kind of become the catalyst for this project that's coming up here. That paper eventually turned into a spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, with a few added games as time goes on. And on that spreadsheet, there's a checklist of have I played it, have I finished it, and what's the score out of 10. And my goal, starting from that day in 2019 onwards, was to play every game that was on that list. Play it enough to feel confident about giving it a score. Because there's some games that you can't finish. There's some games that maybe it's not worth finishing because it's a terrible experience. It's not for me. But I wanted to give it enough time to give it a score at the very least. And I wanted to say that I played every game that I owned, and I could talk about every single game that I had played on that list. And so that's what this is. I have been collecting scores. I've been playing these games since then, and giving them scores. And recently, I've been writing little blurb reviews about all my opinions on them for you guys to see. And that's what these upcoming videos are going to be. We're going to review every game on this list in order of console release, and then alphabetical order. And we're going to do some check-ins along the way, talk about game design, some topics like topical things in the gaming industry, what have you. Just a way for me to talk about all these games that I this project that I have been working on for so long. And I'm really excited to finally get this into production and start uploading it onto the internet. Because it's been a long time coming. I mean, throughout this project, I've been adding more games because more stuff comes out. You know, time doesn't stop for somebody's spreadsheet. And so been adding games. I've been playing all these games. I've been able to really find out what my tastes are in video games, what things I like, what things I don't like in games, and I'm happy to share that with you guys and create a conversation about game design, which I find really fascinating. So that's what's going to be coming up here, and I hope you guys will be here to witness it with me. We'll talk about games, and yeah, I would like to hear all your opinions and stuff. But that's going to be it, and get ready for a lot of shorts to come out, because these are going to be they're not going to be super in depth. I'm not going to give plot summaries or long descriptions on uh, specific aspects about these games. Watching these, I'm assuming that you have played this already. That's the assumption going in. So if you are watching a review that you haven't for a game that you haven't played before, then you may be a little out of the loop. So I would suggest watching a more in-depth review and then coming back, or playing the game ideally and then coming back, and then you should be able to much easier like understand what I'm talking about, because I don't want these things to be too long. They're just little blurbs about my opinions on certain things, and then on to the next, because there's a lot of things to cover. So, but regardless, I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you guys will join me on this journey.